want to talk about America's Next Top Model, obviously, because it's one of the biggest shows.
And we watched that show, yeah.
One of the biggest competition shows. Looking back now, is there anything you would change about the show? Because obviously there's a lot of talk about it now, and even though it's iconic and we love it, but it's being brought back into the conversation. So what are your thoughts on it looking back?
Yeah. So, it's interesting because I started America's Next Top Model as a very early voice about diversity and inclusion. We were way before what is a trend now that I hope becomes the norm. We opened so many doors, and my partner's Korean American. I'm sorry, his wife is Korean. He is Chinese. His kids are half. So he's Chinese American. There's a reason why I keep doing that, because they have a fun name. They combine both of their names.
They combine it? Okay.
Yeah, private stuff. But
I was like, that's their own family thing.
I'm the godmama of their kids. They do something fun. I'm not going to say what it is because it's private, but they combine. So that's why I get it confused sometimes. But no, he's Chinese American. His name is Ken Mok. And so it was our mission to be diverse and to push back when we were told that we couldn't be as diverse. So from people didn't even know what a plus size model was like 20 years ago. They're like, what is that? And even now when we look at what a plus size model is today, our girls were skinny. And even back then, designers that my models back then would go on go-sees, and the designer wouldn't even have clothes that fit them. So it was just being on the beginning of something and pushing through. At that same time, I was still a working model. And still being told, oh, you're too fat, Tyra, you're too this, you're too that, you can't work if you can't do that. And hearing my friends have all this negativity and seeing what was in the way of them working. But I was still this like unique beauty crusader. I was also this person trying to get these models work. And I think at times they battled because I wanted them to get work. But even more important to me was being a beauty crusader. And so what ends up happening is that it's a clash, right? I'm saying, oh, I want all these unique beauties, but you need to change that, and you need to change that, because I have these agents in the background saying, yeah, you want us to sign these girls, but she needs to change this and she needs to change that, and that's how she's going to work. And I wrote a book with my mom, and in the book I talk about that. I talk about some of the things on Top Model that in hindsight, and this is way before any of this stuff trended recently. This is a couple years ago. I was like, in hindsight, I should have still been that beauty crusader that is my heart and soul, and why I started the show, to the millions of people that are watching the show, and then let the agents handle behind the scenes if that model wanted to fix teeth or whatever it is that they said that they needed to fix in order to work in this industry. And so that was like my big lesson. And I didn't need social media to tell me that. I realized that on my own and did a whole section of my book about that. There's another thing that we did, I think that was a big like whackness that I didn't see back in the day was we did a season in Hawaii. And Barack Obama had just won the presidency. Everybody was so proud about that. We learned the Hawaiians, when we were there, a lot of them were saying that, talking about Hapa. And I was like, what is Hapa? They're like, oh, Barack Obama's Hapa. Means he's mixed race. And then we're like, oh, maybe we should do a Hapa episode to explain what that is. So we had the models play mixed race. We had them play half Madagascar, half, I don't remember what the races were, and the mixes and the races. And because I'm a woman of color, I thought I was celebrating skin color to say, this is beautiful. The industry and everything is telling you that a bleaching cream is what you should do. Lighter is best, all this type of stuff, and me even knowing that me being a lighter skinned Black person has allowed me to do a lot of the things and burst open the doors because of my skin color and because of my green eyes and all that. I was like, I'm going to show the world that color is beautiful and we're going to paint these models. When that episode aired, I don't know, was it 10 years ago? There was a backlash saying, what are you guys doing? Painting these girls Black, painting them brown, painting them. And I was like, oh my gosh. Back then I was like, I think my skin is beautiful. I think all this is beautiful. And coming from a Black person, it's obviously not racist because I am saying that this is beautiful and paying homage. However, the mistake was that if somebody that has malintent sees me doing that, they'll think that their malintent way of darkening skin is okay. And so I was like, oh my God, it was like a awakening for me. And I had a talk show, like y'all have y'all show like this. Back in the day, I had a talk show and I did a whole segment on it and said, whoa, as much as I was trying to be woke and say my skin is beautiful and I'm going to paint people like my skin and darker skin and all this and show all these different races, it gives an excuse for people that have malintent. And so we apologize for that. Now, everybody didn't see the damn Tyra show. So 10 years later, you know, during COVID-19, people are quarantined and they're watching Top Model and they're seeing all these mistakes and things that we made. And so I think it is my job to not be mad at a younger generation that didn't see it. It is my job to apologize again because they didn't see it, right? They didn't see me do that. And so I have to continue to apologize. 10 years from now, there's gonna be a whole nother generation and there'll be some other reason. They'll be snowed in one day and watching Top Model. What the hell did she do? This 50-something-year-old woman, I'm gonna have to apologize again because they didn't see this and what I'm doing now and what I've done, you know, over the years. So that's just the state of the world now that, you know, that people see content over and over again and they don't know that you've apologized. And I don't fault them for that. That's not their fault, but it's my job to say, yes, I've apologized for it. And we're going to apologize again and keep apologizing because it was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, it's a great thing that you are able to say, listen, I didn't have bad intentions, because a lot of the times when people offend somebody, they don't have that, you know, evil intention in their brain. It just happens and you make a mistake. And I think something that we need to do is normalize growing from a mistake. I feel like in this day and age, everyone's like, cancel that person. And it's like, well, if we cancel everybody, then nobody's going to exist anymore because
we all make mistakes.
We all make
mistakes. And I think what's with the mistake, I think it's important to understand the intention. I think intention is everything. And so when you create a dialogue, and like, I love open dialogue for that person to say, well, why did you do that? And so if I explain and say, I think this is beautiful and that's why I was doing it, celebrating it, not understanding that it opens the door for negativity. Now, if you think my intention was to make it negative and make it bad and to harken back to blackface back in the day, that was not my intention. My intention was probably the exact same intention that you have. I just went about it in a way that was a little ignorant. And ignorant means lack of knowledge, right? And so I think, the dialogue is super important. I remember I was starting to watch Top Model with my mom this cycle, and I was turned off myself. Season 1. And I couldn't even remember that we did this because I've evolved even inside of Top Model over the years, right? So season 1, we had a weights and measures section of the show where the girls' height were measured and weight was measured. It is normal in the modeling industry. That's what is done. So we were trying to be as realistic in the modeling industry, not trying to embarrass anybody. It's just what is done. So we're pulling back the curtain. Back in the day, nobody complained about it. But as we all evolve, 20 years later, people are like, what the hell? Including me, including the creator of the show. I looked at it and I was like, it just made me sick. And so, you know, dialogue is really, really important to understand. I'm disgusted by it too, you know? So we evolved together, I think. And it's crazy. One of the crazy things I find really ironic is that Top Model for this generation was the catalyst for a lot of the beauty diversity that we see today. We were on the forefront of all of that stuff, of what we're seeing today happen. But at the same time, the godmother, not me, but the show was not perfect. And we messed up. I can count probably 5 times where it's like, what the hell was that? What the hell?
Yeah.